All right, the recording has started, and this is the October 20th, 2020 Rook community meeting. It's a lot of 20s there. We will talk about it a little bit more later on, but we are now a graduated project with CNCF, which is super cool, super awesome, and we worked long and hard to get there. So we'll talk more about that later, but that is definitely the biggest news of the most recent time since the last community meeting, I'd say. Let's jump ahead or jump into the milestones now. We do not have any patch releases planned for 1.3, but 1.4 looks like we do have a patch release plan there.
Yeah, I put the target date of that first week of November. That would be 3 weeks since our last update. It feels like we're slowing down as far as how many fixes are needed to be backported and things. So I just thought we'd try
stabilizing.
Yeah. Unless we find something needed sooner, we could always do it sooner. But
are there any issues there then, Travis, you think that are of high importance or need to be discussed here?
Well, so those 3 in there, I feel like we do need to investigate them still to consider for 1.4. None of them seem burning either, or nobody's commented on them recently. So I guess they keep getting pushed to the back burner, that's all. Like NFS stopped working supposedly in 1.4. And now I don't remember if that's the Ceph NFS or if that's just
it's
the
tagged
NFS
with Ceph.
Tagged with Ceph, okay. That must be the Ceph one.
Yeah, I think Ahmad had some documentation fixes that he was working on to kind of streamline, to make the end-to-end like NFS operator smoothed out a bit. But overall, like the code was updated and we had been in there and it's being actively maintained. So yeah, the NFS operator itself, I think is in good shape.
That's good. Yeah. Okay. And then the second one, I mean, MDSs weren't binding to the right IP addresses. I'm not sure why that doesn't affect all clusters, but it was affecting at least one. And then the last one was the Ceph health error was getting in the way of updates or creating shared file systems. So yeah, those aren't really urgent, or I haven't heard them affecting more than a couple people at least.
Okay, cool. So no sense of urgency to get a patch release out here. You mentioned that the target date is the 5th of November. So we got a little bit of time before that patch release would be shipped out.
That's right.
All right. 1.5, we would be targeting the first, that minor release, 1.5, but the week before KubeCon. And so targeting November 10th. And I think there will probably be a lot more active development on that one than there are on some of the older, backport releases that are in maintenance mode.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I mean, there's a lot of feature work in progress. I don't know how much we need to talk about here.
Yeah, speaking of the NFS operator, this is one of the final features that Ahmad had that hadn't been merged yet. I just took a note myself to go ahead and review this one to get it hopefully finalized and merged in. So that could be included in 1.5.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and the things in progress there's some pretty big feature work coming for 1.5 as far as, well, the first one there I put in the list of PRs to discuss later in the meeting for API extensions. And other things are just our feature work in progress, stretch clusters, OSD encryption with Vault. And
yeah, this is an exciting one here, I think.
Stretch clusters.
Yeah. Is that like, Seb, have you just got started on that one, or is this assigned to Travis, not Seb?
Yeah, I'm doing that one actually. Seb has the OSD encryption.
It's not as cool then as I thought when Seb was working on it. Like, you just getting started with that one, Travis, or is it pretty deep in the development?
Pretty far along. Yeah, cool. I've got the code basically there, but needs lots of testing.
Yeah. Cool.
Yep. Did you read through my design, Jared? the design?
No, I did not read through the depths of that. No, but the feature, the high level feature, I like a lot.
Right, right. Cool. I don't have anything else specific. I'm trying to keep this board a little more updated. So if someone needs an issue to fix, the things in the to-do column that are not assigned, those are things that would be nice for someone to grab. Yeah, I think that's all I've got for 1.5. So November 10th, what is that? 3 weeks out or so?
Yeah, almost 3.
The goal. Yeah, it's coming up quick. Alrighty.
Any other thoughts or comments on some of the open issues here?
Not for me.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's keep on moving then. Yep, so that's all the milestones there. We'll do a 1.4 patch release in a couple weeks, and then 1.5, we will be targeting getting that out before KubeCon by November 10th. So we can move ahead onto the community topics section. And so once again, we can mention that graduation was successful. It took quite a while to get the technical oversight committee to all cast their votes to get it finalized there. We did not get any negative votes, so nobody voted against it. Just took a while for people to actually go, read the diligence and get through figuring out, an assessment for themselves. But that was passed with the sufficient number of votes, and we have the CNCF put out a press release about it. Travis and I did a blog post about it on the Rook blog. We kind of looked back at some of the history there, and we had some cool old pictures from old KubeCons and stuff on the blog post too, which was neat. So that was fun.
Yeah, that was a good idea. So we can walk down memory lane. And where did the project come from anyway?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Smith Tower. That's where.
Tower in Seattle.
Yep. So we also did a press briefing with a journalist from Container Journal. And then Travis, you already do your other press briefing for or the what format was that? Was like a live interview, or what was that?
Oh yeah, there's going to be another one. Video interview.
Oh, it hasn't happened yet.
Has not happened yet. It's in another week.
With okay.
TFIR.
So. What does TFIR stand for? I'm assuming that's an acronym.
I looked it up and I already can't remember. If you go to tfir.io, it's just a whole bunch of tech YouTube interviews.
Oh, I see. Cool. Yeah. Cool.
I remember having a hard time finding what TFIR actually stood for.
Well, yeah, I guess it's not in front and center. Cool site though. Yeah, that's a good opportunity too. That's exciting, Travis. So yeah, good luck on that. Not that you need it, but it will be super cool. But yeah, basically, the graduation is, a long time coming with a lot of effort across many releases from the entire community and many contributors, hundreds of contributors. So great work to everybody for investing in maturing the product to a point where, being vetted by the foundation and the technical oversight committee, and that it is, ready for, it's mature enough and ready for broader adoption in the ecosystem. So that's a really pretty impressive milestone to hit to reach graduation. Similar to other projects, Kubernetes itself. So that's great work. I'm really happy to have that happen.
Yeah, thanks to everyone. And we have so many production users already that it's funny, you have to have lots of production users to get to graduation, but then people see graduation as a milestone where you can deploy it more in production. So yeah, it's good for production. That's the point.
Yeah, but a bit of a snowball down the hill sort of thing, maybe.
Right. Yeah. We'll just keep doing what we're doing.
Yep. Cool. All right, Travis, is Satoru on the call today?
No. So Japan time zone is the middle of the night, so unfortunately, I don't think he'll ever make it to our
not a good slot for him.
Right, like 1 a.m. or something.
Okay.
So yes, but we would definitely like to welcome Satoru as our newest official maintainer as of last week. So he's been doing some good things for us. CI stabilization and OSD updates and a number of other areas. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome to have some more expertise on the team and more people power to keep investing in the features and keeping pull requests merged and moving forward and stuff like that. So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Alex, did you bring this up, or is this Travis? Did you add this?
No, I think.
Was that from last week?
I think I might have copied everything. I might have created this week's agenda. And I might have forgotten to remove the.
Oh, okay. So this is stale.
So, yeah, this might be still. Sorry about that.
Okay, no worries.
Well, I mean, on that topic though, I mean, you did open a design doc for how to think about moving or creating the new Helm repo, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's good. Is there anything we need to discuss here, do you think, or we can just chat on the PR about it?
I think on the PR, like it's more or less should we do a separate repository or not? And well, the separate repository would at least, well, from my perspective, just make it easier on the construct we currently have going on. So yeah, and as I think I said last time, like as an argument more or less to that, it would allow to just easier push the Helm charts further and not make them too dependent on the Rook release. Especially when looking at like what people want more or less in the ticket that I've created this design doc for. This one where it's like, yeah, but what if there would be a Helm chart which does like, brings like defaults or like simple toggles for certain features. Like kind of a wrapper would do. I said, like Helm charts can in itself be independently released from software releases as well. As in the, I think I probably have mentioned that in the design document there. Helm even has like an app version, which is normally like the indication of, hey, this should be compatible to this in the software version at least, or something like that, depending on how it's interpreted. And I think with us being able there to move faster with the Helm charts, this might even at a certain point be a possibility to at least from my opinion, deprecate like the default YAMLs besides like the examples to just render them through the Helm charts and have just one place to worry about updating in the end.
But you think we could only go with Helm and not have our example YAMLs? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, to a certain extent. We would use the Helm charts then to render the manifests, so that updating the Helm, of structures of YAMLs would just be needed to be done in the Helm chart, and then there, like a make something examples or so command would then just render the Helm chart and put it in the example files, so that the example files are always up to date on how they should look from structure wise. That's at least from an idea I have for the future, for the far future.
Yeah, I'm curious what percentage of people are installing with Helm charts versus the YAMLs directly, right? I guess we have no way to know, but
well, the thing about Helm is that for a lot of people with like Flux and other like GitOps operators, it's easier to just point it at the Helm chart repository and give it the values YAML to install. I think if we do it right, this might more or less just further increase like the usage of Helm if we have proper Helm charts for everything. Yeah, So is it that like the idea with the separate repositories really just to be able to move forward fast and even be able to release Helm charts a bit like independently for maybe even the operators which currently don't have any Helm chart available right now. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I definitely feel like Helm charts have been neglected in Rook. We haven't done much with them. Since the initial Rook Helm chart was created for the operator a long time ago, we really haven't changed it much besides updating it with other things we had to update. Yeah, as we think about splitting it to a new repo, I just have a bunch of questions on the PR already. I didn't see if you responded yet. I'm behind on email today, but yeah, we can chat more on the PR about that.
Yeah, because I also see many projects having their own endpoint to install, to add a new repo. So it would be nice to have something like helm.rook.io, something, so that we can add.
I think we
already have something like that
already.
Yeah, charts.rook.io. Yeah, exactly. Which is completely under our control and like part of our automated build process and stuff and release process.
But I think I'm not sure if I mentioned it like that in the design document. I hope I did. My idea of I just see your comments then. My idea would be to basically say, hey, we're gonna make kind of like a cut. That for like the new with like new improved Helm charts, we would like start to use like helm.rook.io to just have one channel because I think we removed the logic there, but technically it's still there for old versions like the stable beta and so on thing. Does anyone remember that with the Helm charts and like the releases we had going on some time ago?
Yeah, some last year around 1.0, I think we removed the other channels, the alpha and beta and stable channels. Now we just have the release and master channels. I think we had to recreate the old ones though, because people were still depending on them.
Yeah, but I think, well, basically, is it like my idea would be to really make a cut to say, hey, since from version 1.6 or something on, there will be no new Helm charts added to the old system, to the charts.rook.io, and then from there on, like the new improved charts, then hopefully to be added to the new helm.rook.io, for example. They would, like that.
Right. Yeah, so it all sounds good. I like Helm as kind of a focus area going forward.
Yeah, a few people also from customer side are using GitOps and all that, and it's for them it's much easier to just say, hey, install this Helm chart with those values instead of install those 10 or so YAML files, because if you think about it, we have the common YAML, we have operator YAML, we have the cluster YAML, we have storage class, which can be 2 files, the block pool and the storage class. So let's just go with 5. So the 2 files are already at 5 files. Let's say we want the file system, 6 files, 7 for object storage and storage classes and all that again. So it's not many files, but it's from a Helm and all perspective, it's just easier to do like a Helm install and you're done with it, so to say.
No.
Right.
I guess we'll have to figure out, well, what charts make sense. Do we want the operator chart separate from the cluster chart, separate from the kind of the object store chart or other charts, or is it just really kind of one big chart? It feels too big for one chart, but yeah, that's what we need to figure out.
Cool. And
if anybody has kind of Helm expertise, that will help.
Yeah, I mean, so having Helm for objects, to actually create clusters and do useful things beyond just having a Helm chart to get the operator itself installed. That's definitely a gap, and I definitely support that. But that also sounds a little independent, though, from having a separate repo Helm charts, like a dedicated source code repository. Like you could probably, maybe the design doc goes into details why, but I would expect you'd be able to do that still from within the single Rook repo.
Yeah, it should be possible. The idea is more or less to kind of decouple it from like the normal releasing with Jenkins and all that going on. To see the Helm chart really as an independent part of Rook, with where it shouldn't, like it should matter only what Helm chart version is used if, well, let's say 1.6 Rook changes everything, to put it like that. Like if 1.6 changes everything, like how the Ceph cluster object looks, then the Helm chart wouldn't be compatible. But just being able to give the user, say, hey, this Helm chart is for this Rook version, and having default values in it according to the Helm chart, how it has been tested, for example, even as well. In a separate repo, being just able to rely on, well, let's say GitHub actions and all that, without needing to go through the Jenkins and all that necessarily. Well, from our perspective, would make it easier to move forward with adding more Helm charts and moving them forward faster as well.
Yep. Cool. All right. Thanks for driving that, Alex. Yep. Nice. Okay. And then, so we also have a quick note here on KubeCon North America 2020. The recordings for our talks are due this week on October 22nd, so 2 days from now. How's that going? Did you all already finish that, or where is it at?
Yeah, well, it's not finished, but so Sebastian and I are planning on recording tomorrow, and then Alexander and Blaine will also join for the Q&A during the session. Alexander, if you felt like you really wanted to speak to some slides too, we're officially recording tomorrow is the plan.
At which time? If you need me in it, well, I don't necessarily need to be talking for it, but if you need any help with the recording or something, feel free to reach out to me. Like, I'm available, but
right.
Don't necessarily need
to. Yeah, we thought with 2 people we could manage the handoff a little easier than with more.
Yeah,
but
yeah, no, that's from
that's
Jared's and my as well. Like it's just 2 people. Now, if you need help with recording or anything, or adding the videos together or something, let me know. I'll gladly support that process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got the slides pretty much fine-tuned. Sebastian and I just went through them this morning again. So
awesome. Good.
Yeah, if you feel like giving feedback, I'll send you a link too.
Thanks for doing that on time with the aggressive schedule proposed by the KubeCon content committee this year.
It's still like 4 weeks away.
Yeah, and then they just announced like who got a talk like 3 weeks ago or something.
Well, they know nobody will do it till this week anyway.
Yeah, maybe next week for some people too. So then there's a call for project updates too, for CNCF project updates. I think that's probably of particular importance too, since we recently graduated. So we'll get some focus time there. So there's an email from, I can't remember who it was, but someone from the CNCF about asking for recent updates from Rook so that we can be included in that part of the keynote.
Yep, I've got that flagged to respond as well. I responded to the last KubeCon when they were asking for that as well, and I never heard if they used it. So anyway, I'll look at my last email I sent in August and see if it's still relevant.
Oh, from our yeah, maybe right. a small delta of updates.
Right, or more 1.5 updates.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool, awesome. Thank you, Travis. And then looks like the only other item on the agenda today is around the conversion to using V1 for the CRDs probably, I think, right?
Right, yeah, I just wanted to bring this up. It's a kind of a big change for anybody using CRDs. So the API extensions moved from V1 Beta 1 to V1 starting in Kubernetes 1.16. And the V1 Beta 1 will be completely removed in Kubernetes 1.22. So there is still a little bit of time, but I didn't want to wait until 1.22 comes out to do this. So what this means is, so I'm hoping to get this in for the 1.5 release, where we'll have our new CRDs defined on V1 now, and they'll be using the schema. So schema will be required basically for all the settings, but for backward compatibility, I'm trying to make sure we get a certain flag into the schema that will ignore, what's the flag called? Preserve unknown values. So we can make sure clusters upgrade okay without any issues. Because we have a number of legacy settings that we still try to support from past releases.
And what does that mean for migration, Travis, or upgrade? So somebody's using 1.4, and then they upgrade to using Rook 1.5, and then I don't yet understand the way that the CRDs themselves would need to be migrated, or is that like how does that work?
Right. So the CRs that already exist, or CRs being instances of CRDs, right? The API server has an internal conversion it already does that converts into V1. So like if you query one of our CRs today and you look at the out, you dump it to YAML, it'll show that it's actually V1 now, even though we were still defining everything with the V1 Beta 1. So it converts it for us basically. So this should only affect creating new CRDs, or new CRs, I should say, where we'll be defining a schema. There'll be more complete schema validation, which will be a good thing. But again, I guess the biggest risk is if we miss some legacy setting that we didn't allow for, because it's really strict. Like if we don't define a setting in the schema, it'll be rejected unless we use this flag that says to allow unknown flags. Did that answer your question? It's kind of complicated.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so that's good that there's kind of some API server operation behind the scenes there that kind of automatically updates it for us to V1. So it's at runtime, it doesn't seem like a big impact necessarily for existing installations.
Right. Okay. And people today who are creating the Rook CRDs, when you create common.yaml, you will get warnings saying, hey, these have been deprecated, use V1 instead. And that's why we've gotten a few bug reports from people saying, hey, or even a couple of PRs trying to update it. But it's a pretty big change. So I think it's just the right time to do it instead of delaying longer.
And does this have impact to people that are using clusters, like 1.14, 1.15 or something like that?
Oh, that's right. I was going to say, so people who are using 1.15 or older will need to use or create our CRDs from the V1 Beta 1. So we'll have a separate folder under our examples manifests where people can create the CRDs from there. And since the V1 definitions won't work on those older versions. So we'll still support it. Creating the YAMLs will just be a little less clean. Although the Helm chart, so again, if you're using the Helm chart, we'll handle it automatically to install the right thing.
Does the Helm chart contents need to have both V1 Beta 1 CRD definitions and V1 ones also? And then like Helm at runtime decides, okay, this is Kubernetes 1.15 or less, so I'm going to use the V1 Beta 1 CRDs?
Yeah, basically. We put them both, and then we have a condition that says newer Kubernetes versions use this.
Got it. Tricky.
Right. Yep.
Okay, any comments or questions on this PR, or we can add it directly to the PR itself? Just a simple 5,000, 6,000 line change.
Right. It is mostly YAML changes, not hardly any code change, actually. But, yep.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah, people can add comments to the PR there, 6424, linked in the agenda doc here. All right. That looks like that's the end of the agenda document here. Does anybody have any other topics for discussion that they'd like to bring up in this forum right now?
Hey, Jared, I have a question. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, can hear you great.
Sweet. So let me know if I'm in the wrong place with this question, but I kind of wanted to go over the Ceph crash collector reconciliation loop because I had a couple of questions about that. Would this be the right place to talk about that? Sure.
We could. Yeah, we've got time.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so it looks like it's looping through the namespaces that have nodes with Ceph deployments on it, right, to make sure that those have crash collector pods. But the thing that I'm confused about is if something happens to fail within that loop, it reports the error, then returns. So that means the other namespaces don't get reconciled. Is that intentional, or?
But if the reconcile fails, it will reconcile again. So I guess depending on if it's intermittent failure, then in the next reconcile, we might get what we want. But if there is actually a failure, then yeah, the other namespaces will never be reconciled. I don't think it's an issue right now because it's not like we do that much testing on supporting multiple clusters with a single operator on two different namespaces. We do support that, but yeah, to which extent, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's why I was a little confused because I've only deployed it with one namespace, right? So you never really run into those issues. The other thing I found was if you disable the crash collector on any Ceph cluster within any namespace, the code disables it on the Ceph cluster that requested the reconciliation, not necessarily that Ceph cluster. So I just wasn't sure if that was part of the logic or not.
I guess what you're seeing right now, it's probably due to lack of testing with multiple clusters managed by a single operator through different namespaces. Nothing super intentional, I guess. So if you feel like there is something going wrong, then we can fix it for sure. So yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, like, if I were adding something to that loop and I ran into an error, should I return, or should I just continue in the loop? Right, because it looks like the current way is returning, but it seems like it would be better to continue. Report the error and then continue.
So if you mean if there is a failure within a given namespace, then we should just not break the loop, basically, just continue and do the same reconciliation on the other namespace. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, call continue and then you move on to the next namespace.
Yeah, then yes, it's probably better to do it this way. Do not break and basically do not return error, just log the error that there was an issue in that namespace, but keep looping over the other namespaces so that we could potentially have a successful reconcile on the other namespaces.
Oh, cool.
And just so you know, Renan, we have a community more focused on work/code/questions like this every day. I'm going to send that to you so that if you have any questions, then you can join that daily meeting as well, which is actually daily. So you'll have to wait a full week, or actually 2 weeks to get onto that. meeting we are right now.
Oh, I didn't know you had a daily one.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds good. I was going to suggest the same thing. Yeah, since this meeting is just bi-weekly, we tend to focus more on probably high-level design questions and project management. So.
Oh, okay.
Yep, but,
well, I came up with these questions today, and I just happened to see it on the calendar. So.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yep. Well, thanks a lot.
Yeah, and if anybody else on this call wants an invite to that daily huddle, yeah, just let us know or ping us in Slack or whatever. We got the dev channel in Slack as well.
Yeah, these technical folks. Sorry, Travis. Yeah, those technical focus questions are not out of place here at all. It's just only once every 2 weeks. So getting help, on a more quicker cadence is definitely useful. But yeah, thanks for bringing that up today, Renaud. Appreciate that. Cool. Any other topics from folks? If no further topics, then we can go ahead and adjourn. And good luck recording the talk, Travis and Sebastian, tomorrow. And
Thanks.
See you all online.
Yeah. Have a good day. Have a good week.
Take care, folks. See you.
Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.